Hello sports fans, Coach Carroll here with Sports Banter 38, and as you can see my living arrangements are a little up in the air at the moment. We have a cabin, it's not quite ready yet, so we're staying in an area on the site where our cabin is, and but I do have internet now. I will be able to upload videos, so I'm going to get back on the horse and start getting videos pumped out daily. What I wanted to start with is a video regarding the college playoff rankings coming out tonight. I just want to give my thoughts on how I feel that the committee is going to basically set things up, or how they're going to rank their teams. And obviously I believe Alabama will be number one. They have looked dominant. They have looked great. Just a quick note on that, however, they look dominant and they look great every single year. And a certain point in the year, everyone says they will not lose and this and that, and there's no way that they can lose. And you know, and then most of the time they actually end up losing or dropping at least one game. So they got LSU coming up this Saturday. I had originally was thinking earlier in the year that LSU could be the upset, and that's still very possible, may very well happen. The difference is Joe Burrow has not panned out exactly how I thought he would. He has won some games, but he's not much of a threat talent-wise. He's more of a really cerebral type quarterback. He's very smart. He's good at checking into plays and this and that, but I believe you got to have a little bit more to be able to defeat Alabama, because as good as their defense is, I believe that they're going to give Tua problems that he has not had up until this point. But going back on Alabama being dominant every single year, the difference this year is Tua, and a lot of the sports analysts across the different publications are referring to him as the cheat code. Simply because he's got like 25 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. He is extremely efficient, and Alabama has had quarterbacks who can manage games and do well doing that because everybody around them is top of the line players in college football, but they've never had a quarterback. I'm not going to say never, but they typically do not have a quarterback who could go to another team and be like a star. Well, Tua is that guy. He could go to any other team. He could still be good. Probably not as efficient as he is with Alabama. It's just with all that talent at Alabama around him, this is what you get. So that's the difference. And I don't feel like LSU can. I think they're going to give them problems. They're going to give them a defensive challenge they haven't seen yet. But I don't believe it will be enough to outscore Alabama. Now, if LSU could put 27-31 on the board, I would feel a lot better. But I don't believe Burrow stretches the field well enough and can, with his just straight passing and stuff, because just checking into the right plays and this and that is not going to be enough against Bama. You got to be able to make some good throws. You got to be able to, stay on the field on third down. And I believe their defense is going to hold up for a little while, but after about 3 or 2.5 quarters or something like that, I feel like Alabama's going to probably pull away and win by about a couple scores, maybe 3. I don't know. But back to the playoffs. Alabama will come in at number 1. Number 2, no surprise, more than likely will be Clemson. Possibly Notre Dame. They may feel like Notre Dame has done a little more, but the fact that Notre Dame has struggled with Vanderbilt, they struggled with Northwestern, I believe the committee will take that into consideration. But Clemson with Trevor Lawrence, he is looking better and better every week. If there's a team that can beat Alabama in the playoffs, it is possibly Clemson, simply because they got the best defensive front in football. They got a young quarterback who is a stud. Lawrence is extremely good. He's still learning under fire. If he can get it by the time the playoffs get here, and Clemson is able to have balance throwing and running the ball, which they're showing right now, just not quite to the level to beat Alabama in my opinion. But I do believe they could get there. They could get to where they could possibly beat Alabama in the playoffs. Just give Lawrence a few more games, let him start to feel a rhythm and get into the flow of what Clemson does on offense with Etienne at running back. He's got a great receiving core there. You know, hey, I feel like Clemson could be the team that could possibly win it all. Number 3, like I said, I believe they're going to put Notre Dame at 3. They're still undefeated. They've beaten Michigan. They've beaten Stanford. They've beaten some decent teams. Don't get me wrong. This Notre Dame version is better than the one a few years ago that got stomped by Alabama in the national championship. They're a lot more talented than that team. However, Alabama's a lot better than they were then as well, so it kind of, you know, you kind of got that balance thing going. I feel like Notre Dame they can compete with anybody in the playoffs. I don't know if they could beat anybody in the playoffs. But at number 3, if Notre Dame stays undefeated, I believe they're a shoe-in. You know, good luck keeping an undefeated Notre Dame team out of the playoffs. That's all I got to say about that. At number 4, personally, I may put Michigan. I would probably put Michigan in at number 4, but I believe the committee is going to put LSU in at number 4. It's going to work itself out Saturday anyway. They do have some big wins. They beat Miami, who I believe was, if they wasn't top 5, they were definitely top 10 at the time. They beat them pretty handily. They beat Auburn, who at the time was a top 10 team. Of course, they dropped the game to Florida, but you know, here they are, probably going to be at number 4. So, you know, that they're not a bad team. Very good defensively. I feel like Orgeron has probably saved his job. Hopefully he can get a more skilled quarterback in there through his recruiting. LSU always great in across the board, but they never have a quarterback for whatever reason. Burrow is the best thing they've had, and he's more of an intelligent type quarterback. Physical skills, he doesn't have a bad arm. He just doesn't always make the best throws. You know, he's not consistent enough. He can make the throws. He just doesn't make it every time, and he kind of seems like a, you know, he's fairly mobile, but he's not like a get-up-and-go type quarterback. You know, he keeps them in games, and he can win ball games. He's not going to beat a great team, in my opinion, from what I've seen so far. But LSU is still strong. They're still a good team. It's going to take an Alabama. It's going to take a Georgia. It's going to take somebody like that to beat them. You know, speaking of Georgia, they're on the outside looking in. They got Kentucky this week. That should be a decent game. Kentucky's played great defensively. Their offense isn't that great, but they have Benny Snell, who's a great running back. Georgia's run defense hasn't been that great. And I honestly picked Georgia to run the table and go to the SEC Championship and beat Alabama. The problem is their run defense has not been very good. And I don't feel like it's because they do not have the talent. I feel like they've got the talent there. It probably just needs another year of development. And, you know, they got good coaching, great coaching at Georgia. Those players will get developed. Come next year, Georgia will probably be a force, which they're still in it this year. So we'll see how Georgia does these last few weeks. And if they beat Kentucky, they're probably going to the SEC Championship, where it'll more than likely be Alabama. If LSU is able to beat Alabama this week, then it will be LSU and Georgia. And in a rematch, I take Georgia. Remember what happened last year with Auburn. So, you know, we'll see how all this goes. Anyway, guys, that is my top 4. Not my top 4, but what I believe the committee will put at top 4. So, without further ado, guys, thank you for watching the video. Please like, share, and hit that subscribe button down at the bottom. and I will probably get a preview for college and pros up at some point, if not today, tomorrow. Thanks again for watching the video, guys. This is Coach Carroll with Sports Banner 38, and I am out.